Let's go. Good girl. Down. Stay. Okay. Place. Stay. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Okay. Kenda, come. Very good, girl. Okay. Can you drop it? Swap it. Get it. Good girl. No. Okay. Hi, this is Ashley from Top Dog Training and Resort. I just showed you everything Kenda's learned, and now I'm going to show you how to give each command properly and then how to go about correcting her if she chooses to not comply the first time you give the command, or if she does something like jump up, something that we're trying to get her to do less often. We're going to give her a correction for that. But for the commands, you want to remember they have two parts. So the command, such as sit, and then the release word, which is okay. And okay frees her up from whatever she's doing until you give her the next command to do. She's free to do what she wants when you tell her okay. And you want to make sure you're saying okay in between commands to let her know that you're moving from one command to the next. And there's also a few hand signals that go with the verbal commands, just to help her visually as well as auditorially. So for sit, when we tell her to sit, it's going to be palm towards the ceiling as we tell her to sit. And normally you want to get her focused first, especially when you first take her home. Have her focused on you, have her looking right at you before you tell her the command. She's going to be much quicker to respond when you have her attention first. Okay, good girl. Sit. Good. Okay. Of course, if she does any command the first time, no corrections are necessary. You want to make sure you praise her. Tell her she did a good girl. Yeah. If she hadn't sat the first time, remember you're going to tell her first. You're going to give her 1-2 seconds. If she still hasn't corrected herself, you want to use the e-collar. The black S on the e-collar is your go-to correction. Good girl. Okay. And then for down, which is going to be a palm towards the ground, again, you're going to face her. Down. Good. Okay. Of course, if she does it the first time, no need for correction, just praise her. If she hadn't done it, again, and if she still hadn't corrected herself, you want to press the black S. And you can repeat the correction, but not the command. You want to repeat the correction until she complies, then stop the corrections and praise her. Good girl. Okay. Kenda, place. Good girl. Good. The place command is going to be any designated area, such as her bed, that you want her to go to. She can lay down, she can have all 4 paws on it, she can sit on it. As long as all 4 paws are on it, she's good. She tends to lay down. It should be a place that's comfy for her. She tends to hold longer stays when she's on her place. So when you find out what you want her place to be at home, if you want her bed to be her place, that's perfect. You're going to lead her over to it, present it to her kind of like I did with the sweeping motion, tell her place, and instruct her to get on the bed. Good girl. Again, same verbal reprimand first, and then e-collar correction if she's not complying. And then to remind her to stay in what position you have her in. So either a place, a sit, or a down stay. It's going to be a palm towards her muzzle as you say the word stay. And then she knows that she needs to stay in that position until you go back to her, praise her, and release her. Okay, good girl. And if she chooses to stay where she is when you say okay, don't correct her for that. It's not a problem. You just want to make sure with stays, if she were to get up and break the stay before you go back and release her, that you bring her back to where you had her, either in a sit down or a place. She holds it, remind her to stay, and then kind of reset, make sure you release her, and make sure she holds it until you release her. If she gets up and starts wandering around and you don't bring her back, there's no correction for it. She's much more likely to try and get away with it more often. Good girl. Okay. For the leave it command, it's going to be when she gets fixated on something else and you want her to return her focus back to you. So I was demonstrating before, throwing treats on the ground, leave it, good girl. And I'll praise her when she looks back up at me. When you practice this, you want to make sure you don't give her the treat that you just told her to leave, or don't give her anything that you practice with that you told her to leave. It can be very confusing for her. So give her a separate treat or just praise. And it's the same thing if you were to use the leave it command with, if she gets fixated on something outside, same way to go about correcting her if she does not take her focus off of it. First that then correct with the e-collar. And then the drop it command, she didn't care for any of our toys, but I'm sure she will at home. Have 2 toys that are similar value to her, like 2 tennis balls, throw one, let her have it in her mouth, show her that other one, tell her to drop it. As soon as she drops the first one, you're gonna throw that second one. So it's going to be an ongoing game for her, and she's going to realize if she drops this prized possession that she has in her mouth, she's going to get something in return, whether it be another toy, praise, or a reward, a treat. Good girl. Okay. Finally, good job. And then for her healing, so she's going to be on the left-hand side. Sit. Thank you. I usually start her in a sit, make sure she's focused on me. Before we lead off and start healing. When you lead off and you say, let's go, that's the command. You're going to pat your left leg. That's initiating the walk. Then anywhere after that, if she forges out to the side too far or out to the front, you're going to correct with the e-collar. And then make sure you praise her when she's back on your left-hand side, where she needs to be, in line with your leg. And then when you come to a stop, she's expected to automatically sit next to you. If she's very distracted and hasn't realized that you've come to a stop, remember, correct her verbally first with the and then same thing, press that black S with the e-collar until she sits. Then make sure you tell her good girl. Make sure that she knows that she's done what she's supposed to. Good girl, you ready? Let's go. Good girl. If she's not engaged with you, I like to make a lot of 180-degree turns. Good girl. Keep her focused on you. If she forges out, if she forges out, good girl. If she forges out in front of you, I'm sorry, and not turning with you, correct with that e-collar. You saw when she went out too far, she felt the correction with the e-collar and immediately fixed herself. So make sure you praise her when she comes back into position. Good girl, Kenda. Okay. And then same thing, excuse me, with that verbal release word. When she's healing with you and you're ready for her to go be out of this position, go potty, go sniff, go play, what have you, release her with okay. Now she's out of that position. When you're ready to keep going, I would call her to you, which we're going to do next, and then lead off with the let's go command. Ready? So for the come command, you're going to use her name first. That's the one command you're always going to use her name first. So Kenda, she'd get her attention, and then you follow that with the come command, meaning come into you and sit right in front of you. The command is not over till she sits right in front of you, so you're able to reach down and grab her collar if you needed to, or she's not just going to bolt off. You're going to have her here for a little bit until you release her. So when we call her to come, it's really important to be big, loud, animated, make her excited to come to you, especially when she's off leash and outside. You are competing with every distraction there is out there. So be exciting, be animated. Remember, we're going to call Kenda come, outstretched arm in towards your body until she sits right in front of you, then reward or praise. You ready? Kenda, come! Good. Okay. Kenda, come! There we go. Okay, good job. Kenda, come! Good. Okay. So those quick little steps back, things like patting your legs, clapping your hands, are just all things that are, those movements are going to get her attention, get her excited to come to you if she's really distracted. Good girl. But same thing for the off-leash commands. You're going to use that black S to correct her if she does not follow your command. Give her 1 to 2 seconds. If she's not starting to turn her head and come towards you when you call her, use that black S button. Good girl. Yeah. And then the other options on the e-collar, if you hold the red S, it's a continuous stimulation for up to 10 seconds. And then if you hold the black and the red S together, it boosts the number by 5. So it would go from 5 to 15, it would go from 15 to 20 in that instance. And don't be afraid to turn the number up. 15, again, is her working number in a normal situation. When she goes home, it's a transition. There's different handlers. There's different environment that she hasn't been proofed around yet. So always want to start on leash with all these commands. With the e-collar, make sure that she is responsive to the e-collar. It's making good connection. Those prongs are touching her skin. And you'll see a little head twitch from her when it's making good connection, and you can practice that a few times before you start to advance with your training, especially before you take her completely off of leash. You want to make sure this is making good connection. And then just remember, any new place you go to, you want to start on leash. Again, go through the whole process again, getting her used to the new environment and new distractions, and then at your discretion, take her off leash and continue to train. Good girl. Good girl, Kenda.